G'day there, ladies and ledians. Welcome back to another episode of my Dragon Quest Let's Play. Yeah, last time we kind of got through the introduction section, and now we're able to actually play the game, which is very nice. I mean, we were able to play it before, but now it's a bit more free with what we can do. We are still kind of limited, but we'll see how we go. So, I think I've got to go over to Erinn. Erinn is quite possibly one of the best girls in the game. There's a few best girls, I guess. Yeah. No, this is Ivor's house. Basically, Ivor's dad is the mayor. Ivor's a bit of a spoiled brat, but the mayor's actually like scolding him. So he's a pretty decent father. So, yeah, we get to rattle on Ivor to Erinn, which is pretty good. Like, he's an okay guy, right? Like, he gets there eventually, but in the meantime, he is kind of like a bully, or like a show-off, you know? Erinn! Yes, let's eat. But yeah, it's a very long game, so if this is like kind of boring to you, this is kind of just how JRPGs work. They're very slow, but they are very rewarding. Once we get to the like, spicy parts, so not maybe spicy is the wrong word, but once we get to the more interesting parts, it will definitely be more enjoyable to watch. Ivor, what do you want, my friend? Some secret business he's wanting to talk about, huh? So, yeah, I believe he just wants to try to get more tourists to the place, because like Erinn's kind of family thing is like an inn. I think that's the family business. Ivor wants to impress Erinn by promoting the inn, and by doing that he wants to help clear out a landslide that happened when we fell. And so then more people from the nearby city should be able to come this way, for example, you know? Now, we've currently got Ivor as a companion. He's not a particularly good companion, but, you know, we don't need to worry about him. That's the thing. Like, he's pretty much an immortal NPC kind of follower at the moment. But now that we have Ivor, we are able to get out of the town. We could have picked up some stuff from the item shop, you know, from some better equipment. But we'll just kind of see how we go, and probably like circle back, you know? And so here we are in the overworld. As you can see on the top of the map, you can see where everything is. You can see where we are, you know? And yeah, it's a pretty much an explorable open world. You know, it does push you towards like certain things, that's for sure, but you know, you can explore for items and resources and stuff. But we also get one of the coolest features about this game. The monsters are in the overworld. Now, this game came out in like 2009 or 2010, right? And they had monsters in the open world like this. Pokemon didn't have this until Let's Go in I think 2018. Oh. So this came out on the DS, and Pokemon didn't have, you know, open world encounters until the Switch. I'm just saying, you know. But yeah, also the kind of dynamic 3D camera in battles is pretty fun. It makes it a bit more enjoyable than like a static screen or like a numbers. See, like here, you know, we have kind of the JRPG kind of menu kind of thing as we're deciding what to do. We don't have many options at the moment. I'll cover this later. This is a very cool mechanic. But once we get into the actual combat, you can see that it's 3D. We don't need to do anything. This is all, you know, still turn-based. There's no action turn-based. But it just adds to the kind of dynamism of the game. Like, it makes it a bit more enjoyable to watch, you know? And as we get cooler, flashier abilities, you know, it'll be cooler. Also, you'll notice that you'll notice for the previous battles that there was a multiplier, right? Hey, we leveled up. Yeah, you'll notice that there's a multiplier, right? And that happened when, like, either then I attacked or other way around, right? Yeah, this is the way we're supposed to go, but while we got Ivor, we may as well level up, because he's basically like 3 damage. So, if 2 companions attack like that, right, one after the other, you get more of a damage multiplier. And so, I guess like your order of attacks is also important. We can go explore a bit, battle some new enemies, showcase some Akira Toriyama designs. But like, so, for example, if you have a mage and a warrior, right? If you go to warrior first, you'll do a bit of damage. And then if you go the mage second, you'll deal more damage than the mage would normally do, but the mage isn't going to do that much damage on a physical attack, right? But if you have it the other way around, you have basically the same amount of damage from the mage, but you have more damage from the warrior. So, kind of changing up your speed a bit can help. And I believe it's mostly on basic attacks. You might be able to do it with a few things, but I've only really seen it with basic attacks. So, we got some healing herbs in case we need it, but we're just going to explore around a little bit to gather some items and goodies, see what we can find. Yeah, we may as well show off this enemy. This one's a bit more annoying, but it's fine. And so, with it being in the monsters in the open world, it means that we can ignore enemies if we need to, which is, you know, pretty good. There we go, we've learned heal. So, the player character is defaulted into one of the classes, right? There are a total of 12 classes in the game. There are 6 basic ones, and then there are 6 more advanced ones that you have to like do a quest to earn, right? Well, you don't get the ability to change vocation until later on, around level 18 or so. Once we do get the ability to change vocation, we'll be starting our challenge. But you see that little musical note underneath our name? That is like the class we are. We are the minstrel class. It's a bit hard to say, but basically it's an all-rounder kind of class. So we got heal, and we can heal outside of battle, which is pretty good. It does cost MP, which we'll have to probably rest to recover, but that's fine. We're just going around. And these are glitter things on the ground. They're items, so we can pick them up. So we got some more healing herbs for us, which will be very useful later on. So I guess I should explain. Yeah, so these are the items that we currently have on our person, right? And basically these are the items that we can use in battle. we cannot use anything in the bag during battle. And so there is like a limit to the amount of healing you can have, which will be very important for when we get to our challenge, that's for sure. But we kind of explored everywhere that we kind of can. There's like a dungeon that we can go to, but we're gonna get there soon enough with the story. So I figure we may as well continue the story and get around to it. Now, on a casual playthrough, you wanna... Let's see, for this first boss that we're gonna be doing either today or another day, you probably want to be around level 5 or 6 and get at least some decent equipment from the shop. I believe we will get something around here though. Yeah, we're gonna see something very important. Are you ready for this? Does that look familiar to you? It is part of the Celestial Chariot. The Starflight Express. However, only we can see it because we are, you know, Celestian. We're kind of like a mortal Celestian hybrid at the moment. We're not quite either of them. But Ivor is a pure mortal and he cannot see it. So, first of all, let me get this chest. The gold ring. We can equip that. Up our defense a little bit, which is always nice. But we're gonna go in and check it out. No? We're not. I guess we'll come back to it later. It's been a while. There we go. A little pink dot was floating in the air. I wonder what that could be. Unfortunately, this is going to be an end of Ivor and I relationship. Ivor's no longer in our party, as he's kind of like done for the most part of the plot. The King of Stornway, which is like the nearby city, is trying to help out with the landslide, so that's nice. But something tells me it'll take a bit of time for them to really clear it. Yeah, so there was a traveller from Stornway going to Angel Falls called Patty, and she basically took the roundabout way, but that roundabout way is very dangerous indeed. So we'll be heading back to Angel Falls. We could take the Chimera Wing, but I think we need to go this way. No, perhaps this whole thing with the floating dot comes later. So we could take the Chimera Wing, I guess, but let's just walk it. Why not? And as you can also see, there are day and night cycles to the game, which is also very nice. Oh, the enemies come in a few movement patterns, and that one is a very dangerous one because it's very relentless. But you are able to get enough distance by doing that like little maneuver to make it take longer. I would also like to kind of just mention again, once again, the SPC, the Small Poker Trooper Club. We're getting a few more members, that's for sure. We're getting there. It's going to take a while for it to really grow, but it'll be good. And so I would like to shout out some new members that we've got recently. Empress Eevee and Moonlight Mandy. They both joined recently. Pretty good channels, I think. We got Empress Eevee with... I think we got to deliver eyeballs to the... Yeah. So, Empress Eevee does a lot of like live streams. Some Pokemon like shiny hunting, some just kind of casual gameplay with fans, I guess. Pretty chill, I guess. I haven't talked too much with her, but she seems pretty nice. And Moonlight Mandy, perhaps you prefer gameplay on like physical hardware of like, you know, older games. Moonlight Mandy might be the place for you. She's currently playing Pokemon Crystal on a modded Game Boy Advance SP, which is very nice to see. I doubt Nintendo is going to be too salty about such an old piece of hardware, you know. It should be fine. But yeah, it's actually really cool because as you guys may know, my Crystal playthrough kind of ended. If I was playing on original hardware though, it probably would have continued, but you know, sometimes you can't play on original hardware. Right, so how's our stats looking? Yeah, we could use it here. Why not? Let's check out the item shop and rest up before we continue on. So yeah, I'll put a link in the description for their channels so you can check them out. But I'd also just recommend joining the SPC. You never know who you're gonna find in there, you know? And it's probably the place to be for finding new Pokemon content creators. So I should explain, right? With the vocations, you can see on the top screen that this fan is able to be used by our class, the minstrel class, right? And it's also being able to be used by a fist kind of class, right? Each weapon will have different vocations that can use that weapon. There are ways to, well, there is a way to make it so that anyone can have it, but that takes quite a bit. A lot of people can use a shield though, so I think we're gonna take one. I don't remember what we get in the dungeon, so some of this might be redundant. But, you know, we may as well... Oh, we don't have enough money. We may as well at least increase our damage. We're very poor, aren't we? Yeah. Okay, I think leather shoes at least aren't that bad. There we go. You always want to make sure you have enough money to rest up. I think there's only like one place that doesn't require gold to rest. But, you know, when you can, you should probably heal. I think at this point though, we can rest at Erinn's house. No need to think about it too much. But in any case, yeah, the SPC, very small at the moment, but all growth starts from somewhere, and I would recommend definitely checking it out. You don't even need to really interact if you don't want to, you could just kind of stay in there and chill. Yes, I would like to call it a day. But you know, everyone's friendly, and there's really no reason not to join, I don't think. Like, there are more benefits than there are detriments, if that makes sense. But you know, if you perhaps know a small Pokemon content creator that needs to get a bit more love or support, you know, you can direct them to the SPC. You know, we're all pretty friendly, and you know, we're all like small creators, so like we're all gonna stick together, I guess. you know, not many people looking out for the small guys at the moment. So, you know, having a community where people look after each other like that should be pretty nice, you know. And so we probably do need to grind a little bit more. Not for the SPC, but for this. We do need to grind a little bit more to get more gold for better equipment and, you know, more experience. But at least for now, we're good to start on this dungeon. I'll probably do about half of it, then we'll kind of call it there. We'll probably save the boss battle for next episode. But yeah, this is our first dungeon of the game, the Hexagon. And I believe we go this way. Okay, maybe we gotta go to the main room first. I know the solution to a lot of these, but it's usually like the order of operations about what you gotta click on. But luckily, we're part Celestian, so we can see the departed spirits, so they can give us a bit of a hint about what to do. And so, this guy is giving us a hint from beyond. I was going to say something poetic there, but I can't really think of anything. But yeah, Empress, Eevee, and Moonlight, Mandy. Let me know in the comments if you found it this far in the video. It'll be interesting to see. But, you know, if you don't, that is also fine. You don't have to watch all the creators in the SPC. That would be unreasonable for me to ask. You know, it's really up to you about what kind of content you enjoy, I guess. So, yeah, liking and subscribing is not 100% necessary. But, you know, it's nice to do. Even just the occasional like or comment should be nice. But again, you don't have to do anything really. It's just the more you put in, the more it will grow. So yeah, we did just get another level shield, but we can use that later. In any case, we'll do a few more battles and then we'll probably call it there for today, and then we'll continue the rest of the dungeon next time. There isn't actually too much to this dungeon, but I at least want to show off some of the enemies. So yeah, if we can get to level 5, it should be nice. Unfortunately, we are by ourselves, so the enemies are going to team up against us, and we don't really have any eyeballs to deflect the damage. Oh, that was rude. But yeah, the combat in this game is relatively fun. If you like Dragon Quest XI, I think you're going to enjoy it. There are a few differences though when it comes to team building. And let's just say that I prefer the team building in this game, like the options, than I do in Dragon Quest XI. That might be a hot take, but I tried Dragon Quest XI a fair bit. At least got the halfway mark. Or at least the main game. But when it comes to the character team building in this one, I think I prefer this one. Yeah. Ooh, that hurts. We might not survive this. Come on, heal. No! Okay, good. So, what I like about this one, right, is that the enemies do have, like, their own MP, and so if you can survive long enough to have them be reduced of MP, then whenever they go to use one of their abilities, they won't be able to, which is nice. Ooh, yes, this is another important aspect of why I like this game, where you get skill points. Alright? Now, you got skills related to what you can equip, so you got swords, whip, fan, and shield for the minstrel. And then each class also has their own unique kind of skill tree, I guess. But for example, the warrior can also equip swords, right? So if we put any points into sword, that will also be shared with the warrior, you know? Because it can also use a sword. But it won't be able to use the liveness. Liveness? I don't know. It won't be able to use this one, because this is exclusively for the minstrel class. What is cool though, is that any benefit that we get, so like, for example, in this one, when we put 4 points into this tray, we get Hot Lick, an ability, right? No matter what class we choose later on, we will be able to use that ability. And so you can also see that, you know, at 42 points, we can increase our magical might by plus 30, which is a lot. Then if we go to mage, right, that's already like a plus 30 onto it. If we go warrior, that's plus 30 magical might, even though they can't use it, you know? That's the thing. So, it really adds a lot of replayability with the vocation class. But, for me, what I want... Do I want anything in here for what my challenge is going to be? Some of it is good. You know, it is a little bit of everything. But if I'm being realistic, I'm probably going to put the points into shield. Now, you see at level 100, right? We get Omnivocational Shield Master. That means that we'll be able to equip shields on any class, rather than the ones that can equip shields. So this is a very, like, getting to level 100 in a thing is very important if you wanted to use that weapon for a different class. Oh, we haven't found you yet. So we are level 5. We could potentially battle the boss now, or we could go back and heal up and then come back. As we do get higher level though, we'll be getting less experience, so it does balance it out and we can't really overlevel. Alright, I'll battle this one, then we'll probably call it there. I might go back to Angel Falls, rest up, and then we can continue the rest of the dungeon. How's that sound? Again, sorry if it's like the music is too low. It's just that they are pretty protective about the music in this game, you know? And I don't want to risk it. But yeah, we should be able to go back and get some decent equipment. And then battle our first boss. So, that is going to be where we end today's episode. I would like to thank you for watching. If you have any comments about Dragon Quest or really anything, you know, leave them down in the comments below. Also, be free to check out Empress, Eevee, and Moonlight, Mandy. You know? Spread some love. Alright, I'll catch you later. Bye.